Today I want to talk about sexual dimorphism. In biology, sexual dimorphism is described as the distinct physical differences between the sexes of an animal in addition to differences between the organs themselves. Sexual dimorphism is a term for both the genotypic and phenotypic differences between males and females of the same species. These differences can be spectacular. In humans, the differences are less phenotypically impressive than peacocks and peahens, for example, but they are nonetheless significant. Between men and women, we show considerable variations in the size and shape of our bodies, our musculature, our metabolism, and after puberty, our secondary sexual characteristics, our reproductive organs themselves, and, not to be ignored, significant differences in our brain physiology and psychology. Our sex is determined during the early pregnancy by the absence or presence of the Y chromosome on the 23rd pair of chromosomes in our genome. The X and Y chromosomes, also known as the sex chromosomes, determine the biological sex of an individual. Females inherit an X chromosome from the father for an XX genotype, while males inherit a Y chromosome from the father for an XY genotype. Mothers only pass on X chromosomes. This happens because of the release of hormones. The adrenal glands make hormones and release them directly into the blood, so they can travel to tissues and organs all over the body. The hormones released by the endocrine system control many important functions in the body, including growth and development, metabolism, and reproduction. The endocrine system is a network of glands that produces all the hormones used by the body. In addition to well-known sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, it also secretes important hormones like insulin and adrenaline. If it weren't for the male hormone testosterone, all babies would develop female sex organs. At around the 7th week of pregnancy, male genitalia begin to develop when the Y chromosome signals for the start of testosterone production. In girls, the ovaries will first appear around weeks 11 to 12 of pregnancy, and by about week 20, a baby girl will have somewhere near 7 million primitive eggs. That eye-popping number will eventually whittle down to about 2 million by the time she's born. What are endocrine disruptors, and what role do they play in the sexual development of the fetus? According to the Endocrine Society, there are nearly 85,000 human-made chemicals in the world, and 1,000 or more of those could be endocrine disruptors based on their unique properties. Endocrine disruptors are chemicals that interfere with this system. They can affect the body in 3 main ways. They may block the pathway between a natural hormone and a receptor. They may act directly on a gland, causing it to make too much or too little of a hormone. They may mimic a hormone, causing the body to overreact or to react at the wrong time. Endocrine disruptors can be natural or manufactured chemicals. They usually enter the body through inhalation, in food, or by direct contact. They fall into these general categories: industrial, agricultural, residential, pharmaceutical, and heavy metals. Examples of endocrine disruptors include bisphenol A, or BPA. Some food storage containers contain this chemical. Dioxins. Some manufacturing processes create dioxins, and they spread when certain substances burn. Perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS. These substances are used in non-stick coatings. Phthalates. Makers of plastics use phthalates to make their products more pliable. Polychlorinated biphenyls, PCB. PCBs are found in many products in and around the home, including transformers and lubricants. Triclosan, once used in soap and hand sanitizers. This chemical is still present in other products designed to kill bacteria. There is compelling evidence that today's crisis of gender dysphoria, the inexorable decline of the younger generations into androgyny that is characterized by less and less difference between the two sexes. Also, we have noted an exponential drop in sperm counts and increase in female infertility for the past 50 years that has a direct correlation to the ever-increasing introduction of endocrine disruptors into our lives. These findings have not been sufficiently studied by academia and medical researchers to force governments and industries to take decisive action in order to staunch the influx of these toxic substances. We are so utterly dependent on these chemicals in every aspect of our daily lives and so unprepared that substituting them or doing away with them entirely would throw us back into the dark ages. Regarding how much endocrine disruptors are interfering with fetal development, there is a way to determine if a person is fully developed as a male or as a female. It is called anal genital distance, or AGD. The AGD is shorter in females than males. For the past half-century, it has been shortening dramatically in both sexes. A team of pioneering scientists, led by Dr. Shauna Swan, has done a considerable amount of research in the field of endocrine disruptors and their effects on the fetus. Measuring the AGD is a practical way of determining the reduction of our sexual dimorphism. The relative length of the AGD tells us what mother and fetus were exposed to during the critical phases of pregnancy. This indirect signal reveals how much testosterone was produced in utero. The level of hormone production at key points of pregnancy will determine how males will function as adults. More testosterone, bigger the AGD. Boys not exposed to sufficient testosterone will have a shorter AGD and be under-masculinized. The shorter AGD can be shown as resulting from exposure to plastics, insecticides, and many other industrial products. In the female, perturbations to the essential hormone levels will render her under-feminized. We are in a full-blown existential crisis. Our ability to reproduce is dropping by an ever-increasing amount from year to year. Sperm counts and fertility are in rapid decline. Our libidos are disappearing as well. If this trend continues, and it certainly doesn't look like it will abate anytime soon, before we know it, we'll find ourselves old and childless. From Gaia's point of view, is this really such a bad thing?
Remember this, a kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy, and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate that no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy, and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have its mate that no one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.